The great question that needs to be asked: was the bombing campaign by Allied forces against both civilian and military targets in Borneo between 1944 and 1945 that resulted in the great loss of life of civilians and natives, was it justified? And did these bombing campaigns ultimately lead to the defeat of Japan in World War II? No. The defeat of Japan was left to the American initiative of dropping 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If you were to ask any Australian today what was the worst act committed by the Japanese against mainland Australia, it would be the bombing of Darwin. If you were to ask an American what was the worst act of Japanese aggression against American forces, either on the home islands or on the American mainland, it would be Pearl Harbor, the surprise attack by the Imperial Japanese Navy against the American fleet at Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December 1941. Now, it can be argued that the Allied forces had a moral duty to win the war against Japan in the Pacific, as the Japanese had committed a great number of atrocities across the region and they had to be defeated. Military targets such as railway yards, locomotives, oil refineries, military barracks, ammunition storage facilities, airfields with military aircraft, runways, military patrol vessels either at ports or at sea. Now, these are genuine military targets. Bombing a town full of civilians is not a military target. We saw this happen with the destruction of Sandakan, Labuan Town, Jesselton, and Kudat. It has been suggested that more civilians died as a result of these Allied bombings on our major towns in Sabah, for example, than any of the atrocities committed by the Japanese against the civilian population. Many deaths didn't come directly from the actual bomb blasts, but came from injuries caused by fragmentation, death from infections, loss of limbs due to a lack of medical facilities, medicines, and medical attention. Many civilians starved, including those in Labuan. Towns like Jesselton and Sandakan were totally destroyed as a result of these bombing campaigns, Labuan included. Were these towns and villages in Sabah genuine military targets that needed to be destroyed? Absolutely not. At no time have either the Australian nor the American governments ever apologized for their actions in this regard. It's an issue that has largely been ignored or forgotten about since 1945. It's unlikely either government will acknowledge their role in the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent civilians in Borneo, especially in Sabah, in their quest to defeat the Japanese under the orders and direction of Douglas MacArthur and General LeMay.